Hey, welcome back everybody to the 50/50 Showcase. My attempt to show you as many different level 50 builds as I have within reason from the City of Heroes Homecoming server game, Excelsior Shard. Showing you guys and gals a whole bunch of blasters, brutes, corruptors, controllers, defenders, dominators, masterminds. I am now on to sentinels. This is my fifth sentinel. Episode 40, Europa. She is Ice Blast, Ice Armor, and not Ice Mastery, but Psionic Mastery. Her theme, her concept is a whole bunch of damage. Uh, Pretty expensive sets you'll see in a minute. But with a heavy emphasis on high survivability through defense and really a whole bunch of ways to decrease speed, decrease the recharge of enemies. So a bunch of stackable minus speed, minus recharge powers, so that once she gets hold of her enemies, which she'll likely be in melee a lot, she doesn't have to be, but she'll likely be there, pretty close to it. Her enemies maybe get one attempt to fire at her, probably going to miss because of the defense. And then at that point, that's it. Their speed, the recharge is being floored, and then the damage is just pouring down on them, and they are finished pretty quickly. So let's take a look at the mids build so you can see what I'm talking about. And here it is. So this is maybe one of the lightest dives I've gone into a power set. Check it out. I skipped 4 powers in Ice Blast, and that's well, why'd you take it? Really, the two main things I'm going for are Ice Storm and Blizzard. A couple of Patch Rain AoEs. And then I've got Ice Blast and Bitter Ice Blast, a couple of solid single target attacks. You got aim in there to boost your attacking, and really at that point, that's all I need. I am going to get a third attack from my Psi Mastery, and that is going to be in the form of Dominate, a single target hold. So one of my philosophies, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but usually I want to go with 3 single target attacks on any sort of ranged attack, or even from melee. I want like 3 solid bang, 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 A, B, C, that I can go in there and just lather, rinse, repeat over and over. So I get Ice Blast, I've got Bitter Ice Blast, and then I've got Dominate. These are 3 fast, animating, fast, attacking powers. So aim, blast, blast, dominate, right? Over and over, I can single target somebody to death with those. But again, the main thing I am going to be doing is Ice Storm dropping that and Blizzard dropping that. Both of these are really high accuracy powers right out of the box. They've got a ton of minus speed, minus recharge. So if you look at that concept of theme, I've got minus speed, minus recharge here in Ice Blast. So taking a look at the numbers on that, you're going to be slowing by 10% their speed. I think this debuff down here is their movement. Yeah, so movement minus 20%. That's jump height. And then minus 20% of recharge. So Ice Blast is taking a chunk of 20% recharge, 20% movement speed. Bitter Ice Blast, same idea, probably, right? 20%, 20%. So that's 40% I've just hit you with. You're standing in Ice Storm. That also is going to mess with your jump height minus 40%. It's going to mess with your overall speed 30%, movement speed 40%. This, I believe, is also applying to the. Does this have minus recharge in Ice Storm? Let me just double check. It does. Let me see which of these numbers would apply to it. It's probably the 30%, 40% maybe. Anyway, it's messing up 10%. There we go. There's a glitch here. So minus 10% recharge. So you've and that I think it's probably per maybe it does not attack, does not stack. Okay, so minus 10% here. You've got the 20, you got the 40, so you're at minus 50% right there. Blizzard is thrown in another minus 50% move speed. The recharge time is 30%. So I've got what, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, about 80% roughly already just the recharge is being destroyed. And then the big reason I went with Psi Mastery is because Psi Shockwave down here also has minus recharge. So if you take a look here, it does a stun and has recharge in a PB AoE. So the recharge there is looking at 50%. So if my math is right, I've got about 130% recharge debuff that I can just slam you with within a few seconds, right? I'm gonna be able to. I'm gonna spoiler on the strategy here, guys. Right? I'm gonna mass hypnose, sleep you from range. I'm then gonna run in there, and depending on which order of operations I want to hit you with, I might ice storm on the way in, blizzard on the way in. I should probably get in there first. Maybe size shockwave, ice storm, blizzard. At that point you're minus 100 some, about 100% recharge. So you wake up from the sleep, you're getting rained on, you're being stunned, you're falling. These things have knockback with blizzard, right? It's got a knockback. Ice storm, I don't think it does knockback. It's just blizzard does. So you're probably falling. You've got shockwave stunning. You're minus recharging. If you do have to get off an attack, it's the only attack you're going to get, and you have to punch through her 40, 50% defense to a lot of, typed defenses. Her positionals are, about 30%. This is not with my incarnates activated yet, so this is just raw defense from sets and powers that I have on. Okay, so you're going to have a heck of a time getting but one attack off. And then at that point, you're getting plugged if you're a boss or whatever with Ice Blast, Bitter Ice Blast, Dominate. It's gonna be just trashing you. So you're not gonna see a lot of return fire once she gets hold of you. Okay, that's the premise here. So I don't need a lot of attacks. The other attacks, Frost Breath is a cone. It's a little bit slow animating. You got to stand back. I don't really think the range is that great on this either. 40 feet. Chilling Ray, that's a sleep attack. Okay, whoopee dang, I don't really need that. I'll just wake you up in seconds. Anyway, like, this kind of doesn't make sense to me, right? So you got a faux sleep, ranged sleep power, but then you're being hit by the rains, ice storm, and you're gonna get woken up immediately. So what's the point? I don't understand why sleeps are being mixed in with, rain powers. Bitter freeze ray, that's another single target hold. So you gotta hold, you gotta range sleep. You've got a cone that's a little bit slow. Ice bolt's fine. I could take that if I had a way to sort of squeeze it in, but I didn't. Then with ice armor, I've taken just about everything with the exception of icy bastion. And you've seen me skip a lot of my tier 9 armors just because, in my opinion, once you have all your other tier 8 stuff and then you have decent slotting with set bonuses and such, you really don't. I mean, tier 9, so many of them are not really doing anything. You've already got, you know, near cap defense or resistance or whatever the case may be. You've already got tons of survivability. So Icy Bastion, what's that going to do for you? You channel Intense Cold through yourself. Doing so will significantly boost your resistance to damage, your resistance to status effects, your regeneration recovery. Yeah. I mean, I've already got lots of defense. My resistance is okay. It could help my resistance a little bit, but I'm really more reliant upon damage, defense anyway. So I don't know. I just don't see it. I've already got protection from uh mez stuff, right? I've already got things with regen and whatever else. So, it's Icy Bastion. Okay, I could take it, maybe click it what, once a fight, or not in a fight, but once a mission. To me it's a waste. I can go find some hell maneuvers, right? At 49. That gives me much more utility across the board every single fight, every single enemy than Icy Bastion is. So, I'm not a big fan of a lot of the tier 9 armors. I don't understand what they're really doing. Usually they don't add much to your thing, or maybe there's some self-res, and I've already commented on that. So I didn't take it, but I took everything else because really, if you're going to grab armor set, defensive armor sets, resistance sets, you need pretty much every single power in those sets. I can't think of an armor set in the game where you're like, oh, I'll take 4 or 5 of those and not take, 2, 3, 4 powers, right? I just don't see that being possible because then you're gonna have holes in your defenses somewhere. So anyway, I've got most of ice armor for those obvious reasons. And then Psi Mastery, I already mentioned, talked about that. The big thing here is going with the Psi Shockwave, but you also get Link Mines, which is some additional defense. So if you take a look at the numbers on that, you're gonna need another 5, percent defense there. You get some psi resistance, almost 10%, and I believe it is to hit which to blah 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 to hit debuff resistance. Does that make any sense? Let me see. Link mines. Let me see what the description says. It kind of doesn't make sense to me. You link mines. All right, yeah. So I guess it's giving you resistance, or it's giving you some plus to hit. Okay, whatever. That's nice. It's not really why I'm taking it, but I've got a little bit of that. And then the other stuff, like I said, mass hypnosis. I'll use that pretty much every fight. The recharge of that's about 30 seconds. That's roughly every group, right? It takes about 30 seconds, let's say, to clear a group. So boom, I'll have that up. That's going to be my main opener. I really don't have anything else to open with other than I could drop, a blizzard or an ice storm around a corner, probably blizzard. So it's just going to be sleeping from range, diving in there. Or maybe I drop, a blizzard, an ice storm around a corner, and then dive in there. That's going to be the strategy you'll see me executing with this build with this character. You really don't have anything else to open with. Your options are fairly limited as far as big, opening attacks. And I want to get in close, right? I don't want to stand back and let them fire away from range if I can avoid it. My range defenses are okay, 30%. AoE is pretty good, 30%. But I want to get in there. I want to get in there so I can start leveraging Psi Shockwave is the big thing for that. All right. All right. Other than that, taking a look at sets, I've gone with fairly expensive sets on this one. So let's take a look. This would be a decent, expensive build here. I've got several Luck of the Gamblers, spread out. Let me turn on my pop-ups again. So I've got some Luck of the Gambler, the global recharge boosts. If you take a look, my total recharge is 140%, right? That's with Hasten, 70% from Hasten. So I'm getting another 70 and some change from sets and set bonuses and Luck of the Gamblers. I want recharge high because I want to just be raining death upon people with, Ice Storm, Blizzard, and then diving in with Psi Shockwave. So, bang, bang, bang. That's my triangle of doom right there. Ice Storm, Blizzard, Psi Shockwave. Okay, lather, rinse, repeat with those as well. Ice Blast, Bitter Ice Blast, dominate, lather, rinse, repeat with those single target blasts over and over and over again. And then in order to maintain that high rate of attack, I need to have decent recovery end drains. So right now I'm looking at, 3-3 to 1-6, or roughly 2 to 1. But that is mostly, I think, because moisture, I don't know if it's showing up here, but moisture absorption is a plus endurance power. Yeah, it's not showing up as any sort of recovery or endurance reduction down there, but this is a close range AoE power that you're able to get endurance plus a little bit of defense and some slow and drain. So it's an end drain power that gives you, so it does give you some defense as well, a few percent. You see my numbers changing. But mainly I have it slotted super, heavily for the endurance draining stuff. Plus, I get the set bonuses out of preemptive optimization. So I've got a high recharge build, so I'm going to need some way to get my recovery. My recovery's decent at 2 to 1, but moisture absorption is going to let me, once I get in close, right into that melee range, I'm going to be able to drain endurance from the mobs around me and refill my endurance bar. I've got stamina, of course, slotted with a couple of those 50 pluses, right? I've got health slotted with a miracle recovery to give me some more endurance. I've got a Numina's convalescence unique sitting up here in frost protection for some regen recovery. So I've got ways of getting endurance just, static with stamina, health, frost protection, and then you throw in the moisture absorption. So those abilities are going to keep my blue bar refilling. And then as far as other stuff, I've got, Hoarfrost over here is going to give me that health boost. It's going to boost your max hit points, kind of like a self heal. Right, I've got that four slotted with some preventative medicines, which gives me some damage resistance and some bonus hit points. I've also thrown in the steadfast protection, the global plus defense is in there. Right, so I've got a way to get health back there. Frost protection is my auto plus hit points and slow resistance, so you'll just see some slow ticks of healing back from that. Plus, I threw a panacea in there, give me another chance for some health and some endurance ticking. So I've got some decent survivability between that. Frigid Shield is an absorb over time toggle. So I've got absorb clicking, I've got hit points clicking back, I've got recovery going off, I've got regen going off, and then I've got the high defenses. So even if I just stand back and fire away, I can survive pretty well just from that sort of thing. But I'm planning on getting in there. I'm planning on slowing things down so those enemies have one, maybe two attacks before they're pretty much defeated, especially all the minions and lieutenants will just be, shattered by all these powers. So you'll see that, and I'll just have to deal with some couple of bosses. Other than that, I've got other expensive stuff, right? I've got Siphon Luck of the Gamblers, preventative medicine's a pretty expensive set. I've got, two of those. I've got one of the winter sets here in Bitter Ice Blast, Winter's Bite. And one of the big things there is it does have the proc for minus speed, minus recharge. So that's another way I can get some, minus speed on some enemies with Bitter Ice Blast. And not only does Bitter Ice Blast have minus speed, minus recharge, and apparently minus to hit as well, I've also got the Superior Winter's Bite, which has the chance for minus speed, minus recharge. So this thing is going to hit you once for minus 20, and then if it procs again, I think you get another minus 20 if I'm understanding. Yeah, so it looks like you can get a total of minus 40% just on a single target with Bitter Ice Blast. So that's good against, like a tough boss or AV or something like that. So that's got six slotted. Those are expensive. If you go and just try to buy winter, set enhancements, they usually cost you like 20 million a pop because the loot packs you got to get them from are like 25 million, I think is what they cost. So these are going to cost you a lot. I mean, if you were just go on the market try to buy each of these individually, this is easily like 150 million right here with these guys, if not more, maybe 200 million. Depends on what you can get them for. But they're expensive. So your better option is to go and buy the winter packs yourself, and then use some converters to flip it between sets. So I've got that. Then I got the ATO set, Sentinel's Ward down here for another chance to absorb. That works well with Frigid Shield's absorb. Blizzard, I have the other ATO set, Opportunity Strikes. That's got the chance for opportunity. So whenever I just activate these patches, it's gonna proc. That's how awesome they are. So I got six of these and five of these over here. I've also got the chance for the resistance debuff sitting in the Blizzard. So these two are, they're going to cost you, I don't know, maybe 8, 10 billion each to get through all of these things. So, you're looking at 50 million roughly. So there's 50, 100. I already said this about 150. So you got, a quarter billion just in those three powers. I've got a purple set sitting down here inside Shockwave, the Armageddon with a chance for fire. So if you were to try to go and buy these, they're probably going to cost you 20 million a pop. So there's, another 100 million. Then I've got another winter set sitting here in Dominate with the chance to absorb. So I have yet another chance to absorb. This is Entomb. I've got that six slotted. It gives me some nice, damage resistances, some slow resistance. This character's got a lot of slow resistance, so I cannot be affected by minus speed or minus recharge. It's got some nice defenses in it as well. So I've got a six set of those in there. I've got a couple of those unique things like a shield wall sitting here with the global resistance. I already mentioned where was it? I have the Steadfast Global Defense. I've got the Gladiator's Armor. That's also another pricey one. I got an Aegis. Those are pretty expensive. Another set of Aegis down here. And then I've got the Winter's Gift Slow Resistance. So I've got tons of slow resistance here, there, everywhere. So this is a pricey build. I mean, this is easily half a billion just looking at, the basic stuff if you're trying to go out and buy it all. So this is not, for the shy. You don't need to have all these, purpley sets. You could, do just as well with some rare sets. But I was trying to get just trying to max out some of that, not recovery, but recharge. Like I've got 10% recharge sitting here with this one. I've got another 10% recharge with the size shockwave there. I had 10% on this one. So I was going for a lot of that recharge. So I did spend extra money on this one. I don't have to. I could have maybe grabbed, uh, lower the price of this by going with some just rare sets and maybe just pick up something like Ice Bolt to give me like a more of a filler attack so that I can not have to, wouldn't be so heavily reliant upon high recharge getting these rains to keep firing. So that's the overall concept as far as the build goes. Then the last thing we'll take a look at are your incarnates. And what did I go for here? Well, I went with agility. This is more recharge, so click that. That's going to get all my powers come back even faster. So if we take a look at what effect that has, let's say on Ice Storm. Ice Storm, here we go. Ice Storm's recharge is 16 seconds, right? And its duration is 15. So it's pretty much perma Ice Storm. Blizzard, the recharge is about 25 seconds, duration is 8 seconds. So that's at every spawn attack. I can probably get 2 ice storms off in a spawn. So I'm going to be going 6. Size shockwave, it's got a 5-second recharge, so I can click this 3-4 times in a fight. The only problem is the endurance is 12, so that's gonna be killer. Moisture absorption though, that's my big way of getting endurance back. So that's at a 16-second recharge. So I can just keep siphoning endurance off of enemies. So I'm not really worried about the endurance issues. So I've got agility. It also boosts endurance mod. It boosts my defenses. So if you look at my defenses with that, I've got 50, 60% to most, the key stuff. I've got 30% to a lot of these positional things up here now. And it gives me some more speed. So again, I'm not being slowed and I have speed boosts. Then I've also taken support radial for the hybrid. That's going to boost my defenses again overall. So take a look at that. Plus damage, plus accuracy, plus defense, plus special. I really like support radial. It's not just for like defenders and whatever. It's good for pretty much any archetype, and it has endurance reduction in it as well. So as you can see, my endurance reduction is going to get boosted by 10%. My drain goes down to 1.7. My recovery's at 3.4 now, so I'm definitely still 2 to 1 going there. It's boosting all my defenses. I've got close to 40% positionals now. Then I went for interface gravitic. This is going to help me stack recharge, movement, debuffs, plus and minus recovery. So this build is all about just slowing things down, preventing the enemies from getting after you. So if you take a look with that click now, let's take a look with Blizzard. Blizzard is going to be, okay, let me check here. I've got minus resistance from the proc that I've got in. There's 12.5. 50% jump height, 50%, 30% recharge debuff, recoveries minus 10%, slowing 60%, movement speed 50%, runs. I mean, it's just like devastating your all those proccable slows. I mean, nothing's gonna move. That's the key to this whole build. Okay. Then I grabbed Ageless. This is going to help with my own endurance, right? So I've got endurance plus even more recharge. So when I click that, let me see what that does to my Blizzard's recharge. So recharge without it is 24, 25 seconds. So with this clicked, I'm about like 20-second recharge in this. Size Shockwave is under 5-second recharge. Uh, Recharge on Ice Storm is 13, 14 seconds. So that's going to give me endurance, going to give me more recharge. I also went with the debuff resistance. So that is something trying to debuff my defense or whatever might hit. That's a useful thing. And then, of course, I went with one of my favorite judgments, Mighty. This is the big PBAOE smash down on the ground, knock things up. So, I'm going to be going into melee, like I said. So picture this. I'll be throwing out the sleep, mass hypnosis. You run in there. I can throw down Mighty to knock everything up in a big ol', pile. Size Shockwave, Blizzard, and Ice Storm by the time they land and start getting up. they're not gonna get up. They're gonna be dead, other than a couple of bosses or a couple of lucky people that are beyond my target cap. And then I went, of course, and grabbed Banished Pantheon Radial. A little bit of OP-ish pet there, but it's not, make or break for this build. I pretty much could take anything. It's mostly just because it kind of fits my theme, because those Banished Pantheon, one of them, whenever they drop that sleet or whatever it is that they're throwing out there. All right, so that is the build. That is the concept. That is the plan. So what we'll do now is we're going to go ahead and fire up a couple solo missions and then do some team and show you how this actually works in practice. So I'm not just going to show you some miracle build and tell you how awesome it is. I'm going to show you how good it is or how bad it is, and talk you through some of the strategies, some of the weaknesses, strengths, that sort of thing. All right, I'll catch you in a little bit on the solo stuff.